Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. So I thought I would do a video today talking about what happened to me recently that caused me to not upload any videos for a while. And if you're on my Facebook, you already know this, but I had a really bad flare of my rheumatoid arthritis. It's been a long time since I put any video content up about my arthritis. I had originally intended to have a whole playlist of videos that were related to my arthritis, and it kind of just fizzled out or whatever. And but this, I thought it was really important and I wanted to do that, so that's what I'm going to do now. So it started, let's see, okay, my birthday was on March 19th. I was good on my birthday, everything was normal. And then let me give you first some backstory. I don't take any prescription medications for my arthritis. I have a juvenile rheumatoid arthritis. I'm 51 years old, and I just use Tylenol arthritis over the counter. I basically have adapted since I've had this since I was a kid, and I just don't really need anything. I don't feel the need for anything. I get along really good. I have great quality of life normally. It's mostly my hands that you can see and my toes that are affected, but I actually have it in every joint of my body. And so even though my hands look worse, the worst of everything, it's actually it's my legs, like my hips and my feet, that bother me more than anything else. All right, so now moving forward. So my birthday was on the 19th of March. Everything was good on there. And then on the 23rd of March, I started my period. Now, a little bit of backstory about that. I never had any problems with my periods or anything like that until we were pregnant with our son Wyatt, and I lost him to stillbirth at 36 weeks. Up before I became pregnant with Wyatt, I always had normal periods. I never had flare-ups. My periods were always very light and easy. And they didn't, they were fine. They never fazed me or anything like that. After I went through the experience of giving birth to Wyatt and losing him and everything, when my periods resumed, they were like completely opposite as to what I experienced before. So they were very heavy, they lasted a lot longer, and I had an arthritis flare every single month, just about. And that never happened to me before. Now, I know that it's very common for women with arthritis and autoimmune diseases to experience flare-ups during their menstrual cycle. But that just had never happened to me until after I gave birth to him. And then it became like a regular thing. And it was always usually the day before I started, and then 1 to 2 days after was the period of when I would have a flare. And the flares, while painful, they weren't anything that I couldn't manage or anything like that. So this month, and that was in 2011 when that started. So that gives you an idea of what I'm, talking about here. So on this time, on March 23rd, I started my period, and it was the strangest thing ever, because I had done a video that day. I don't even remember what the video was for, and I was uploading it, and about halfway through the day, my left hand started to feel stiff and funny. It felt like heat was around where my cyst here is, and it began to swell and turn red. And my fingers, I couldn't move them up and down. I couldn't wiggle them at all because the pain was so much that I couldn't even wiggle them at all. And this just swelled up like a big giant bubble, and it turned red. And I was like, what the heck is this about? But you know how it is with a lot of autoimmune diseases. Sometimes things just happen, like weird things. They just happen, things you've never experienced before. It's just odd, It's just something you get used to and you learn to deal with it. So I'm like, okay. So I took some Tylenol arthritis, and then a couple hours later, I'm like, my back feels stiff. My lower back felt really stiff, and kind of started to feel tight and everything. Well, I do have muscle relaxers that I will take sometimes for, I get pain in my thighs. Sometimes my muscles bunch up, I think for compensating them of my joints not working properly. So I took a muscle relaxer, and rubbed my thighs, my thighs and around to see if that would help. And my back still felt really tight and weird and everything like that. And by that night, I could not get from a seated position to a standing position without the pain sucking the breath out of me. It was that bad. I couldn't sit down comfortably. The only time it didn't hurt was when I was laying down. When I got up from a seated position, it felt like, I don't know how to explain this. It felt like someone had inserted popsicle sticks, or had put like leg braces on me or something, where my hips were like I was walking like Frankenstein, you know what I mean? Like I couldn't have a normal gait or flow. I couldn't bend anything. It was an effort, and I just had to move side to side. It was the most bizarre feeling ever. So I went to bed that night, and I was thinking, well, it's just my period's causing this crazy flare up. This happens or whatever. And it didn't hurt when I was laying down. It didn't hurt. Then I got up the next morning, and it was still just as bad. It had not gotten any better. I needed help to get up and down. My husband had to help me, and it really just was terrible. It was excruciating. And he said, well, do you want to go to the urgent care or anything? I said, no, it's just my period causing a flare-up. Nothing we can do, right? Because we know we've been through this before. If you have a chronic pain or an illness or an autoimmune disease, you know the drill. You know it, right? There's nothing they can do for you. You have to write it out a lot of times. A lot of times, not always, but a lot of times. So I was like, no, it'll be better in 2 or 3 days when my period's done. But it was terrible. It was terrible. I was absolutely miserable. I could not sit. I couldn't stand. I couldn't walk. All I could do was lay down. I was dreading having to use the bathroom. It was that bad. I was like, how am I going to get up and down from the toilet? And how am I going to wipe myself off and clean myself up after I'm done using the bathroom? Because I can't bend, I can't twist, I can't do anything. And of course my husband, he's like, I'll help you with anything. I'll do anything you need. Just let me know. And I know he would. And I know he would do it out of love, and he wouldn't care, and he wouldn't think anything of it. But I don't want him to do those things for me. I don't want him to do those things for me. You always get to that point where you don't want your spouse to see you in that way, because I'm thinking to myself, how's he ever going to think I'm sexy again if he has to wipe my butt? You know what I mean? Like, those kind of thoughts come into your head. And I know I'm just being brutally honest here. I know these are things that we all think about. And I know that that's not how it is on his end. He doesn't think like that. But that's how I felt, and I was worried about it. So I resisted his help, in the bathroom, and I just did the best that I could do and everything. But he did help me get up and down from a seated position a lot, helped me get into bed. He was rubbing my back. He was putting Voltaren gel on me. He was putting, rubbing my legs using the percussion massager that we have, and, all these kinds of things. It was just terrible. It was terrible. I couldn't do anything. Well, then finally it started to feel better, like the night before Easter, or the day before Easter. I was feeling better, and we were having Easter dinner at our house. We were having my mom over and a family friend over. So he was going to do the bulk of everything, like the ham and stuff, but I was going to make deviled eggs. I boiled those the night before, and I was making a corn casserole. Very easy to assemble. I didn't have to do much at all. So Easter morning gets up, I make the deviled eggs, and I am assembling the corn casserole. He's putting it in the oven for me so I don't have to bend down or anything like that. And I felt okay. I didn't feel great. It still hurt, but it was manageable. By the afternoon, by the time we sat down to eat dinner on Easter Day, it was back again full force, just from the activity, right? From moving around and stretching, reaching. I was sat at the table like to prepare the food that I was working on, but you reach for things, or you turn, or you peeling eggs. I kind of was bent down a little bit and stuff like that. And so by Easter night, it was back again in full force, and it was terrible. Monday, the day after Easter, it was awful. right back to where it started from, where I was miserable again. And I mean, I have never felt a pain like this. It literally sucked my breath. It was affecting the quality of my life at that point very much. I realized it had only been like, a week and a half or whatever, but mentally it was taxing me because I've never experienced anything like this before. I have issues with my arthritis from time to time. I deal with them. They go on. I know other people have terrible pain, and while I'm gonna say I am empathetic to those people and sympathetic to them, I never could really relate to that because I'm just different. I am the way I am, and I just let it roll off me. Usually I get through it, and it's not that bad for me. But this was different. And this was so humbling because I think about all the times that I hear other people saying how bad their pain is, and I don't want to say I dismissed it, but I couldn't relate to it. I just couldn't relate to what they were feeling and what they're going through. And I think that's a problem, like with a lot of doctors, because they don't know. Unless you go through it, you don't know how it feels. You can get an idea of it and you can have empathy for the person, but you don't know until you experience it for yourself. So here I am in the middle of this flare, and I'm like rethinking everything, about my life, about my life with arthritis to this point. I'm like, is this how it's going to be for me from now on? Did something happen? Did I like turn a corner? Did I turn 51 and everything fell apart? Like, what is happening to me? What is happening? Because my period had stopped, but I was still having all the pain. And my husband kept saying, you got to go to the doctor. You got to go to the doctor. You got to go to urgent care. You got to do something. And I'm like, there's nothing they can do for me. And I'm thinking, there's nothing they can do for me. So finally, I start getting, hold on, I got to take a drink. Sorry. I got to take a drink. Sorry. So finally, I start feeling really bad. I mean, not just with the pain, excuse me, but also, I'm running a fever, which isn't uncommon when you have a flare-up of arthritis. I was running a fever. It was low-grade temp. It was 98.6, so slightly below 100. And the pain had moved up into the middle of my back. So then when that started, I started thinking, well, maybe it's a kidney infection all this time. Maybe I've had a kidney infection and it's just now manifesting, because I know those are symptoms of a kidney infection. And I've actually been hospitalized in the past for an infection that I let go on too long because I didn't recognize the signs of it. This was years and years and years ago. But I'm like, maybe that's what's happening to me. And I was like relieved at thinking that I have an infection in my kidneys, because I was so terrified that my arthritis was like, it was going to stay like this forever and I was never going to recover from this. So I said, okay, I'm going to go to the urgent care tomorrow, or, the doctor's office or whatever. I was pretty much prepared to go to the urgent care because I didn't think that my doctor's office would be able to get me in on such short notice. So in the morning, I called the doctor's office and I said, you probably don't have any openings. And they're like, 2:30 today. And I'm like, okay, I'll be there, So I went and they said, bring a urine sample with you. So I did. And the whole time I'm in there, I'm thinking, they're going to tell me it's kidney infection or a urinary tract infection. They're going to give me some antibiotics and they're going to send me home and I'm going to be fine. And the doctor comes in and he says, your urine is completely clean. And I was like so freaked out by that, because I'm like, well, if it's not an infection, then it's my arthritis, and I don't want this to happen to me. I don't want to be like this, and I started getting really scared. He said to me, I can give you a cortisone shot or offer you a prednisone pack. I'm not familiar with either one of these things because they're never things I've done before. I know what cortisone shots are. My mother-in-law gets them in her knee. I've taken her before to the doctor when she's had them. So I know what they are, but I've never had one myself, and I've never taken a prednisone pack before. So I'm thinking, well, I don't know how the cortisone shot is, but I knew that I had pain moving in different areas. It was moving, it was in my back. Sometimes it was kind of radiating down towards my hips and my thighs. Sometimes it was moving up in my back. And I didn't know if the shot is more localized or does it spread out. I didn't know these things. So I opted for I said to him, well, which do you think is better? And he said, well, let's try the prednisone pack if you want to. And I said, okay, I'll do that. So I was at the doctor last Wednesday. Today is Tuesday, the 13th, and I was on last Wednesday. And he said he'd give me the prednisone pack. And then I said to him, well, what's going on? Why all of a sudden am I having this issue? And we started talking, and, my weight is up. I fully admit that my weight is up. I'm heavier now than I've ever been. I'm as heavy now as I was when I was pregnant with my son at like 8 months. You know what I mean? And I don't get any activity hardly at all. 51. You know what I mean? I don't eat that good. I'm just like, ugh. And he said, are you depressed? And I'm like, well, yeah, kind of, but not. I don't think I need anything. I think it's just more like lifestyle things that are happening, and everybody's depressed right now because, hello, 2021 and 2020, right? And so he asked me, did I think I wanted to take anything for depression? And I said, no, I don't feel like I need anything like that right now. And I said, a big part of it is this pain. When this pain is gone, I know I'm going to feel like myself again, but I said, I just feel so defeated with everything this way. When you dread having to go pee, when you dread having to get out of bed in the morning because you're not going to be able to hardly stand up, when you dread sitting down on the couch to watch TV with your husband, and you dread because you're not going to be able to get back up again, it's just a terrible, terrible feeling. So he said to me, this prednisone pack will help you. It'll fix you up. I'm just confident that it's going to be fine and everything. So I said, okay. So my pharmacy is right next door to my doctor, and I walked over there and they didn't have any, and they had to order it. So I didn't get it until Friday. And so now today is Tuesday. I have today and tomorrow left. That's all I have, and I feel so much better. You guys, I feel so much better, like myself again. It's still there a little bit, but not like it was before. Not even close, not even remotely close. But I can get up and down from the toilet. I can get up and down out of bed. I can bend over and throw something in the trash. If I drop something on the floor, I can bend over and pick it up. I shave my legs. It's like, oh my gosh, I feel so much better. And it's such a relief. It is such a relief. I was so terrified. That I was not going to be able to get back to myself again. I was like so terrified. I can't even explain to you although I'm sure some of you know, understand it for yourselves. I was so terrified that I had turned a corner in my life that I would never be able to go back. I was afraid that something had happened, that this was the way it's going to be from now on. And I was just terrified of that happening to me because I thought, how will I get through my life this way? How will I get through my life with all this pain? And it was like impossible. I was just overwhelmed and I felt miserable and it was horrible. But it's getting better. And it's a lot better than it was. But I know there's things that I have to do now. I have too much weight on my joints. I have too much weight on my hips. I just have too much weight. I weigh too much. And I need to get that off. I need to be serious about it. I don't have a plan as of yet. I'm just taking things slow, one day at a time. But I know that I'm not a kid anymore. I know I'm mature chronologically, and that I have to take better care of myself for my husband and for myself. I don't want him to be, we already take care of his mother and my mother. I don't want him to have to take care of me too. Come on, the guy needs a break, and it's like, I don't want that kind of life. I want to stay as active and healthy as I can. And I know the things I need to do in order to make that happen. It's hard to claim responsibility. It's easy to say, well, I have arthritis, so I'm miserable. Well, yes, that's true. I do have arthritis and it can make me miserable. But what am I doing that helps the arthritis make me miserable? Am I being inactive? Yes. Am I eating way too much refined sugars and flours and all that? Yes. Am I, like eating too much? Yes. Am I, having these bad habits, and you have to take your responsibility too. So I got arthritis. I was born with it. It's not anything I can control, right? That it was handed to me. God was dealing out the cards, and he said, Annie, here is your card. You get this one. And for whatever reason, in his infinite wisdom, that's what he chose for me. And but in my wisdom, I have to try to help myself as much as I can. And so my intention going forward is to try to be healthier. I'm not going on a crazy diet. I'm not going, I'm not going to be like, today I'm keto for life, or I'm this for life, or that. I'm not doing anything like that. I just want to do better. I want to do better than I have been. I want to help myself, because I don't ever want to be in this position again, because it was horrible. Now, also, I will say, I didn't need to suffer with it for that long. I should have went to the doctor, but I didn't know. And how often does that happen to us when we have these autoimmune diseases where they're so wacky anyways? Like, your symptoms are never the same. All of a sudden these things will pop up that are like totally different, that you've never had before. They're just, your body is like a stranger to you when you have an autoimmune disease. So like, I resisted going to the doctor because I thought that it was just going to pass. I thought I just chalked it up to, it's just the way it is and it'll go away on its own. And it didn't. And so it really humbled me, because I'm always like, I'm a trooper. I can get through this. This arthritis isn't so bad. Look at me. I'm an inspirational rock star girl. You know what I mean? Kind of, I'm like, get over yourself. You are the same as everybody else. You need to humble yourself before this situation, and you need to go to the doctor. And that was hard for me to do, because I've never done that. I've never been like, help me, please. I'm in so much pain. I can't stand it. You know what I mean? And that's how I was. And I never thought I'd experience anything like that before. So it's really changed my outlook on things. And like I said, I understand people that live with this terrible pain, and I'm so blessed that I'm able to come out of it. But I know there's a lot of people that still have it every day, and I just don't know how they can manage. It helps me see things in a totally different light. I give them such a level of respect that I never had before, that I should have, but I didn't understand it the way I understand it now. And while I still feel like you have to be in control of your own pain, you can't give it power. I mean, I've always felt like that. I try not to dwell. Even when I felt so miserable, I was still trying to do other things and keep my mind occupied, but I couldn't even do the things that make me happy. Like coloring is my favorite hobby, and I couldn't do that because I couldn't sit, I couldn't reach, I couldn't move, things like that. It just really, really, really was depressing, and it was really difficult. Not just physically painful, but mentally taxing and depressing. And I just really feel like, I don't know, I understand people more that go through this disease. We're all different. We all have our own experience. But this was so, I know I keep using the word humbling, but it's the only word I can think of to accurately describe how I feel. I learned a lot. I learned that it's not always easy. That I'm not always going to have like this ability to just breeze through my disease like I thought I could. And I've learned that it's okay to go to the doctor when you need to. That's what they're there for. It's okay to walk in and say, look, this is what I got going on. You got to help me. I hate needing help. I'm not crazy about that, but I sure did need it this time. And I'm so thankful that I have the health care that I can get that assistance, that my doctor was like, okay, I'm here for you. Let's do this. I'm so blessed for that. And just that I have such a wonderful husband that was so helpful to me and wanted the best for me and was encouraging me to see the doctor way before I would even go. I don't know, this whole experience has changed my outlook. You would not think that a period of from March 23rd until today's April 13th, that it would really changed me so much, but I feel like a different person. I really do. I feel like a different person in my outlook. And hopefully from here on out, I will have no more experiences like that. But if I do, I'm going to take care of it right away. You know, I'm not going to wait. I'm not going to sit on it. I'm not going to hesitate to let my doctor know I need help. So that's just what this video was. It was kind of an explanation to my subscribers and supporters about where I've been, and just something for the content for my arthritis playlist, because I haven't put anything up here in so long, and it was really a significant event in my life as a person who has rheumatoid arthritis. It was really a significant game changer for me, and I wanted to talk about it and spread a little bit of awareness about that, you know, and how I know everybody knows that pain can really weigh on you mentally, but this was like, it just knocked me out. You know, it just knocked me out of my normal existence. It was crazy. So that's it. That's all. I just wanted to share. If you guys have any suggestions for me for any other videos I could do about arthritis or my life and my experiences with my arthritis, leave them in the comment section, because I am more than happy to do any kind of videos about my life. I'm very transparent with my arthritis and my experience with it and everything, but I just don't know what people are interested in hearing about. So if there's anything you want to know or want to see a video about concerning that, let me know. Don't hesitate. Just let me know. I would be more than happy to try to, you know, do what I can do. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully we're out clear skies from here on out, right? Today's a beautiful day. The sun's shining and the birds are chirping and I feel better. I can get up and down and I can go pee by myself. So that's great. But thank you so much for taking part of your day to spend with me. I really appreciate it. Question or comment below, and I will see you guys in the next video.